All right, well, the GST Council has approved the central government's sweeping tax reforms that will simplify the current 4-slab rate to a 2-slab structure, comprising only the 5% and the 18% tax slabs. The new structure will be implemented from September 22nd and is expected to provide a boost for the common man as well as for businesses and industries. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman stated that these reforms have a multi-sectoral and multi-thematic focus aimed at ensuring ease of living for all citizens and ease of doing business for all as well. The biggest tax cuts have come on food, medicines, essential items, small bikes and cars, bringing relief for the common man. Well, aspirational items like television and air conditioners will come under the 18% slab, while luxury items and sin goods see a heavy hike with taxes of up to 40%. Relief also comes for farmers, with agricultural implements coming down from 12% to 5%. All right, at this point in time, Mr. Dikshu Kukreja, Managing Principal at the CP Kukreja Architects and Honorary Consul General Embassy of Albania to India, is also joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Kukreja, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. Well, first of all, it's good news, that people will have more money on their hands. This is like that populist budget that the government comes up with right before an election, but it's not election year. The government has claimed that these are some of the biggest reforms which will accelerate India's pace to being the third or perhaps even the second largest economy based on consumption in the next few years. Do you concur, sir?
So I think I must commend the government for taking up such a position where, it's truly not just ease of doing business that we hear about, but the higher consumption power that is being given to the citizens here. And for the common man, it really is bringing the affordability much more in their hands when you have staple items coming down to a 0% GST and many other essential goods falling into lower brackets now of 5% GST. I think it's definitely a very welcome move. We all keep hearing about the high GDP and the how well our economy is growing and expanding. So I think this is a great gift back to the citizens of India, where they are able to have more disposable income at hand by having a reduction of the GST, which is being borne by them day in, day out. So I think it's a very, very welcome move. I commend the government for it, and I also commend the timing for it. Like you said, no elections really governing such populist decisions, but the festive season is right around the corner. So this is obviously going to lead to even a more enhanced spending and consumption, and that we all know has direct benefits on the overall growth of the economy. So it's a very plus and very positive decision that has been taken.
So what do you think are going to be some of the windfall gains, that the aspirational middle class can look forward to as a result of, this reform? And of course, the competition is also likely to increase, if ice cream is getting cheaper. I'm sure, that there is going to be largely not much of a difference between the premium brands and the not so premium brands. How is that space going to rev up now?
So I think, people are always, when you talk about the middle class, the middle class is always governed by their household budgets that they freeze, and they try to work along that. So from that point of view, when you see that many of the consumer goods are falling into a lower tax bracket, therefore bringing the price down, it comes within the affordability range, and with the kind of large middle class that we have, probably larger than the entire population of a continent like Europe, it's an enormous boost to our manufacturing, to our production, thanks to this large consumption that takes place. I would, however, in the same breath add that all this is hunky-dory as long as the real reduction in the cost of the goods is passed on to the end user, which means while the GST has been reduced, it should not be that the overall price by the suppliers is maintained at the same level, because then the whole purpose of this exercise is in vain. So I hope this is going to have a direct implementation, a direct result on the reduction of the cost, and that is something I believe the government has offered to monitor as well. So that's one caveat. And the second point of concern that I have is that while GST reduction is and simplification of the taxes is a very welcome move, but if you actually ask the providers of goods and services, the current GST regime, we must admit, is very complex. The way these taxes are filed and the way every goods and services supplier has to be registered in different states, and therefore you're spending that many more man hours and complexities in filing your GST returns. And then, there is still not a clear transparency when you look at how your GST is being audited by the government. The returns that are filed, we keep hearing about good things, that this is faceless checking that is happening, but actually I know of many, many instances where the claims that are being raised by the GST departments are completely unwarranted, are completely inflated, and the end supplier of those goods and services is still continuing to face a lot of harassment. So I hope the government will also in the same breath take a look at that and simplify that aspect as well.
So you made a very important point that, there is a possibility that the GST rate is going to affect prices, but it also could lead to some practices which, of course, may not let this gain be passed on to the end consumer. What does the government need to do, sir, in order to make sure that this is not misused and manipulated? You need a task force to manage this.
Absolutely, you do, but it's not that difficult today, right? I mean, a lot of our goods today are being sold online, and you know what the price mechanism is. You can very easily monitor it at the touch of a button. You have that kind of information. So I think it's not difficult at all to be aware. Similarly, the state governments should be also, their finance department should be also sensitized that they should be looking at within the states that the products which are, let's say, not online retail but offline is also being managed in that manner. Industry should be sensitized on this issue and brought along. And like you said, task force that should be overall looking at this aspect, because many of the government's policies are excellent, are very pro-consumer, are very pro-common man. However, do they actually translate on ground with the same objective that the government is setting it out to do is sometimes missed out. So I think, yes, a task force and a close monitoring of this is extremely important to see that the real benefit is passed to the common man.
You're absolutely right, sir. And I appreciate you taking out the time, speaking with us and lending your unique perspective on this important update. Thank you so much, sir.